What's up, y'all? It's Carla, aka La the Poet. Happy Good Friday to everybody. So, I'm going to do a quick clip on random thoughts. So, I have a couple of random thoughts. So, I'm going to start off with some news articles that I saw that really affected me. So, first, I just want to say rest in peace to Kayari Patterson Moore and rest in peace to Nancy Matea Bowen. So, with each story, I'm going to give you the backstory. So, Kayori Patterson Moore was a 7-month-old baby that was in a stroller that unfortunately got unalived in Brooklyn, Bushwick, by a gang member who was aiming for someone else. So the story was is that he was on a scooter somewhere on Humboldt Street, and he aimed for somebody and the stray bullet hit the baby in the head. So the mother of her was Leanna Moore. So my heart goes out to that mother who lost her child. Rest in peace to the baby. And it just makes me think about the problems that we have with gang violence in certain communities. You know, I understand that gangs are there for a reason. I understand why people feel the need to get together and to form social clubs. But when you have violence and you have innocent children getting killed then and unalived, then you might want to rethink, the way that things operate inside your social club or whatever, because it's just something's got to give. People shouldn't have to live in fear in their own neighborhoods. The second story was Nancy Matea Bowen, who I found out may have been Haitian. She was unalived by her husband after a domestic dispute, domestic violence, and he used a pillow and a silencer, and he unalived his wife and left her body in the house, and then he fled to Plantation, Florida, which is another town, to a friend's house, but the police got him, and now he is in jail. He's in custody. So that also makes me think about the problem with domestic violence in our society. I am a survivor of it. I witnessed it growing up, and violence in the home is a huge problem. It's just if you can't live in peace in your own house, your house is supposed to be a place of peace, a sanctuary where you can, kind of unburden yourself with the problems going on in the world. And if you can't even live in peace in your own home, then the best thing to do is to leave that relationship or leave that situation alone. Okay? I had to do it, and for those who want to live a better life, my encouragement is I'm always going to stand for life. And so I'm always going to encourage people to make moves that are going to benefit or maximize your potential for peace. So, my next thought is about, goth. Baby bats are people that are new to the goth subculture. And basically, they're like maybe people that are just entering in. They tend to focus on like aesthetics, the look, and like what it is to be a goth. Stereotypically, it's going to be the aesthetic and the bands. I also think about elitist goths, people that kind of gatekeep the culture, and but they look down on other people, and I don't like that. They go hard, and I get that you want to preserve the culture, but to go around calling people posers and just putting like all these strict restrictions on what is goth and what is not goth, that's not a cool thing. So another random thought. So I've been going through my genealogy journey, meeting new cousins, meeting family members. And what I'm learning about family is that family can be complicated, messy, and there can be a lot of traumatic things that happen within a family. There can be some great people that you meet, but, just like family secrets and so many like traumatic happenings sometimes happen in families, and it can be a lot. I also think about work. So my message is to make sure that in your work you're not a slave. There was a system of slavery here in the United States, and the definition of a slave is an individual that is exploited by others for personal and common gain. So if you are overworking yourself to the point where, you are stressed out and it's affecting your health and all of that, I would suggest that you be really, really careful. And that if you feel like you're giving so much but you're not getting your pay's worth, then you might be acting like a slave. So you need to be careful with that. Okay. Also, what crossed my mind is UFOs. So there was a U.S. congressional hearing on July 26, 2023, where there were a whole bunch of military personnel and whistleblowers and people that were veterans that were talking about how they saw UFOs and they saw unidentified flying objects. And one guy in particular named Grush said that the Department of Defense is operating programs to retrieve material from downed aircrafts that had non-human pilots, right? Yeah, and that some of these downed aircrafts were extraterrestrial in nature, something like from the E.T. movie. So, yeah, and there was also a man from the Pentagon named what is it? Luis Elizondo, who said that excessive secrecy has led to grave misdeeds against loyal public servants, military personnel, and the public to hide the fact that we aren't alone in the cosmos. So yeah, that just makes me think about the unknown and how we probably aren't the only species here, in the universe. The universe is so wide and so vast. And, I do believe that aliens probably do exist, but I think that, it's above my comprehension. So I don't want to get too deep into that because I don't want to get scared and all of that. And would this country be ready if we were to have UFOs come here and attack Earth? It makes me think about, stuff like that. Another thing I'm thinking about is I went on a post on Instagram and I wrote one statement: leave black people alone. And all of a sudden, a whole bunch of white supremacist trolls decided to start, posting and commenting. And these people are just as racist as the KKK. And just the fact that it's 2026 and these people have nothing better to do. Listen, these people need to take their ass back to Stormfront and Red Ice and Patriot Front websites and take their hate and their, racist ideas to a, echoing board for themselves, because I'm not trying to hear their racism, okay? And last but not least, because it's Good Friday, in the Christian tradition or the Christian faith, people celebrate the resurrection of Jesus Christ. They believe that Jesus Christ is Lord. I also do believe Jesus Christ is Lord. And supposedly he rose from the dead on the, the third day after being the third day, something like that. And it makes me think about, the ideas of redemption. And it makes me think about, you know, the idea of resurrection, what it actually means. You know, resurrection means, you know, something that rises up after being fallen, or something that was dead, you know, and now it is being resurrected. It's being brought back to life. So that just makes me think about life and about the different, you know, things in people's lives where you have a chance at redemption, or it makes me think about the things that were dead in my life and all of a sudden there's a resurrection. So, like me joining the dance community and me going out again and stuff like that, I thought kind of like after COVID that that part of my life was dead, but I realize now that it still lives in me, you know, the desire and the love for dance. And you know, I thought that that was all dead, but it's awakening in me again. So I'm kind of really happy about that. So these were just my random thoughts. If you have any comments, please post it in the comment section. And that's all I'm gonna talk about for now. Have a great, happy Friday. Peace.